my film. So what happened is, La Sierra University film department, they produced a film on my book. This you were not here when I said.
You want to go there, and then you don't need to hold your mic.
I see, yeah.
There's a mic here.
Okay.
To share and their ministry in Ukraine, and I know that she has been doing this not only for Ukraine, for worldwide. Actually, all the children, orphan, the refugees, so she really have a heart for this ministry, and so really impact a lot of lives. So we are so happy to have her. So originally we had wanted to have her to come to share. And on Sabbath morning, I have like 20 minutes to share like a mission spotlights, So, but she's away. Actually, she have to preach in some other churches, so we'll not be able to. And so then we started discussing, so maybe we can come. Like she said, can we do a Friday? And so normally we don't Friday. This is a very small groups, But actually, so she's here, and I know people are busy, so. But I know that's it. Well, he will record it, and more people will watch, see that, But thank you for coming, and so I may have to excuse again, also because I will have Bible study, which I cannot cancel online and from China. So, but I will be here for another 20-some minutes, so the more people than I will. But I already read the story, and so I know what they have been doing. I really appreciate it, and actually, our church really need all join together to support for sure. Okay.
Thank you very much. So I think just to save you the time, not to be late, I will start talking about the eve of the crucifixion. Today is Friday. It's Good Friday, they call it. Easter. So what happened? Easter. Or the Passover. I'm sure, yeah? Jesus was crucified on the cross. Friday, like now. And before sunset, they had buried him. So it is a very, really sensitive, spot for me. I read John chapter 13 to 21 almost every few weeks, all my life. I cannot, just fathom how Jesus gave his life for me. It's a love story. So when he met with his disciples, the eve of the crucifixion, it was the Passover. And that Passover is a feast that the Israelites were asked to, observe when they left Egypt during the Exodus from Egypt. They slayed the lamb and they put it on the post, and then the angel would not kill the firstborn. And that was established all these 4,000 years. The Jews till now, whether they are spiritual or not, this is number one feast for them, is the Passover. So Jesus was with his disciples, and John chapter 13, verse 1 sets the stage, and it says, it was just before the Passover festival. Jesus knew that his time had come to go back to the Father. Having loved his own, he loved them to the end. So Jesus says here, he knew it's time for him to leave this world and go to the Father. He didn't say, I'm going to heaven. He was going to heaven. No. It was a relationship. He wants to go back to his Father. And that is what was important to him. And then Jesus knew that, the Passover lamb, they sacrificed the lamb, cannot atone for the sins of the people of the world. He knew that the supreme sacrifice would soon hang on the cross. It is just, and he cried out, my God, why have you forsaken me? And all we can do is bow down and worship. So, leaving this world and going back to the Father is an exodus also. After supper, Jesus washed their feet, the disciples' feet, and he sat down with them at the table, and he told them the same thing. I am going back to the Father. He just wanted to go back, but at the same time, he loved them so much. In John chapter 21, verse 12, after the crucifixion, after the resurrection, he met disciples on the Sea of Galilee, and he told them, children, come have breakfast. They were older, they were not children, but he felt like he was their father. So, and then he told them, he was agonizing because he was leaving them, but he told them, I will not leave you orphans. Because his Father is Father of the fatherless, is the Lord in his holy habitation. So that's why we focus on orphans. I can sit here and talk for 1 hour, 2 hours about how much in the Bible it says our duties for the orphans. And by going back to the Father, he was going to pioneer the journey that one day when he comes, we will take. We'll take the same journey, Exodus, to the Father. So what happened in the upper room and his teaching and his, sharing with them what he wanted them to do was to prepare them for the witness outside. Whatever has transpired inside was to prepare them for the witness outside. And then come with me now to the encounter on the Sea of Galilee. And there Jesus had his final conversation with Simon Peter. He didn't tell them, they were fishing all night and they didn't catch any fish. And they didn't know it was Jesus on the shore. But he of course, he knows his disciples. So he told them, come have breakfast. It was early in dawn, early morning. And they were tired. And Jesus shows that not he was interested in our spiritual welfare. He was interested in their physical needs as well. So he had already prepared breakfast for them. He had broiled the fish and he had bread. And he didn't ask them, what do you want to eat? It was ready for them. Because like any father and mother, you prepare for your kids. You don't ask them. You know that they are hungry and they need to eat. And then Jesus asked Peter 3 times. Peter denied Jesus 3 times. When he was in the room with them, and Jesus said, I'm going, but where I'm going, you cannot come. So Peter said, Lord, why I cannot come with you? I will lay my life for you. Jesus told him, really? You will lay your life for me? Tonight, before the rooster crows, you will deny me 3 times. So now here Jesus comes and tells him 3 times, do you love me, Peter? And yes, I love you. Feed my lambs. And then he said, feed my sheep. The one thing that I was taught when I was growing up, that feed my sheep means go and preach, yeah? Feed the sheep with the word of God. But let's see what Ellen White says. Ellen White says, Jesus said, it is in the Testimonies for the Church, volume 6, page 281. Actually, it's the whole chapter, from 280 to 289. 10 pages, all about orphans. The whole chapter is orphans, the title of it. Jesus said to Peter, feed my sheep. This command is for us. See, it's a command. It's not option, whether we want to do it or not. It's a command. He told them, feed my sheep. And she says, by taking care of orphans, we aid in its fulfillment. Have you ever thought about it that way? I haven't. I didn't know it meant that way. And then she says in the same chapter, she says, the orphans are lent to Christians in trust for God. It means we are stewards of orphans. He has given them to us. And one day he will come and ask us, what have you done for my trust, for the orphans? So, anyway, there is so much I can preach about orphans, but there is no time today. And then people say, when I asked to speak in other churches here in the area, and they said no. Why? Because you will take money, you will fundraise. Come on, don't say that. When David was building the house of God, in 1 Chronicles chapter 29, read it, it's a beautiful chapter. He came to the leaders of Israel, and he told them, I have given from my own treasure and resources, in addition to all what I have given from other, just from the wealth that he had and so on, but his personal. And then he did not tell them who is going to give, how much you are going to give. He didn't fundraise. He said one thing. He told them, who among you is willing to dedicate yourselves to the Lord? So when you are doing God's work, it's not about fundraising. It's a matter of the heart and the intention, the motives. Who among you is willing to sacrifice themselves to the Lord? That's all he told them. And then all of them gave very generously, freely. This is what it says in the Bible, in Chronicles. And then the whole people were so amazed. All their leaders are giving. So everybody gave. It is not about fundraising. I don't like the word fundraising. I come from another country. We don't use the word fundraising. It's about giving back to God. And then David prayed a long prayer, beautiful prayer. You should read it. And he said, Lord, all what we have is yours. And you have given it to us. And we're just giving you part of yours, your money. It's your treasure, not ours. Anyway, so there were orphans in the Bible. Esther was an orphan. Joseph was an orphan. They became great leaders because somebody took care of them. Mordecai took care of Esther. You have to go? It's okay, Pastor. There are 153 million orphans in the world today. Every 3 seconds, a child becomes an orphan. Every 3 seconds. In a day, it's 24,000 children are becoming orphans. So if God gave us this command to take care of them, what are we doing? Even as a church, they were not doing it. I work at the General Conference for 15 years. So I talked for 17 years, going there and telling them, this is what the Bible says. Why you don't take care or do something for orphans? They were not interested. Finally, our chairman of the board, he is vice president of North American Division. So he told them, you need to add the orphans. Finally, they did. And they asked me to be on the committee of orphans of the General Conference. It's not about, a post, a position for me. I told them I'm a very busy woman. If you want to talk, you know how the committees, they talk forever. I don't have time. But if you want to do something for orphans, I will come, I will join. So for 5 years, we have been talking about orphans, but nothing done for orphans. We will keep doing it because God has commanded it. And He will bless us. It's His children. These have nothing. Now, after the Ukraine war, you will see how many orphans there will be. After the Crimea war, when I went there to Ukraine, I went to a refugee camp, and so many orphans. And now after this war, there'll be so many orphans more. So who is going to take care of them if the Christians don't? And these, you will see the video of the people we help. They really don't know, don't pray, and so on. I mean, they are Christians by name. They are Russian Orthodox, but they don't know much about God. Now we are teaching them, we're praying with them, and so on. So one day, these people will get to know the true message of the Adventist Church. We have baptized 350 young people in the world. Our children are very small, so it takes them 10 years to grow or more to be at the age where they can decide they want to follow Jesus. But, we just need to do more for God. And I invite you to tell about the other members who come tomorrow. Maybe tomorrow you'll have this church full, not like now. So you tell them about the biblical mandate to take care of orphans. And we are stewards, and Jesus is going to ask us one day, what have you done for my orphans? So who among you are willing to dedicate themselves to the Lord? It's not about money. Anyway, so I have, at the table, I have these newsletters. I gave you some. This is what we do for Ukraine. And we don't, some people now, ministries, they never did anything for Ukraine. But now, because people want to help Ukraine, everybody wants to fundraise for Ukraine. Money, it's about money. But God knows the heart. We started helping Ukraine in 2011. Not just because of the war, but God had, impressed us to build 4 schools. Why 4 schools? Because as I said before, for a time as this. Because now our schools are shelters for refugees. We feed them, they sleep there, we give them the best cooked food, nutritious food, and then we take care of the children. And we now started teaching them, and we have hired a psychologist for those who have, emotional disturbance because of the war. It's really, children don't understand what's happening. So we really care for these children. So you're supposed to leave at 8:30 or so? Okay, so I think if we can show the Ukraine videos, and then you can see my film produced by La Sierra University. It's not about my life. It's about God and what He can do with one little orphan girl. I was an orphan little girl, and so God helped me. And the people who took care of me didn't know investing in one little girl will have the ripple effect for thousands around the world now. Yeah, so I'm glad. So.
probably the best event I have been to in 2019. You know, best concert, and to see how much these kids can do at 9 years old. The whole time I kept thinking about his future, thinking about what is he going to be like in 10, 15 years.
There are in the world between 150 million to 200 million orphans around the world. And, you know, we've got to do something for them. And we can, especially those starving children. 5 million children die every year because lack of food. And we cannot allow this to happen.
This is the story of Norma. Norma is 5. Norma sleeps on the floor close to her 4 sisters and her mother. They live in a house that has only one small room. As she wakes up, Norma brushes the dust off her shoulders. Norma sees her mother kneeling on the ground. Her mother is praying that her next baby is a boy. Norma would like a baby brother. Norma wonders why her daddy is never home. Norma wonders why her mother has to work all night to earn money for food. Norma wonders many things.
Restore a Child is in how many countries?
15 countries.
Tell me how we actually got the birth of Restore a Child.
But, you know, I knew when I got cancer, God would not give me that disease to punish me. Because 1 year earlier, I had recommitted my life completely to Him. I had peace with Him, really, really. I was, you know, I'm in love with Jesus. I mean, I was at peace. And then I get cancer.
Yes.
I said, God has something good. Coming out of it, I had no idea. So I did not pray for healing, not once. You know, as a woman, we cry. I didn't cry. I didn't, nothing. I was happy. I was going to take treatments and coming to work, and they say, you are smiling, you have cancer. I said, God is working. He has something good coming.
I hold on as tight as I can. I hold on to the cloth on my mother's back. My mother holds me up with one hand. With the other hand, she holds a bag. Water plays with the sand. We stop. Why do we stop? The sun is hot on my head. My mother puts down the bag. My mother puts me down beside the bag. I let go of the cloth on her back. The sand burns my legs. My mother is crying. Why is my mother crying? My mother walks away. Where are you going? I cry for her to come back. She does not hear me. She is gone. I am 2 years old. My name is Grace. I wait for my mother to come back. She does not come back. The sun is hot on my head. I wait. Where can I go? I hear footsteps. I turn to see. The footsteps belong to men I do not know. They pick me up. I wiggle and squirm and do my best to escape. It will be okay, they say. They are not my mother. My mother is gone. I ride in a car. The car is hot, but it is not like the hot of the sun on my head. The car takes me to a place where women try to pick me up. I scream. The women remind me of my mother. I don't want them to leave me alone. The women give me food. I am hungry. The women give me a crib to sleep in. I am tired. I am 2 years old. My name is Grace.
I went to an orphanage that we support. When I was there, I saw this little girl by herself, sitting in the garden. Her mother was going to sell her as a slave girl at age 3.
Wow.
And eventually she decided to abandon her. She left her in the market, and the woman who takes care of the orphanage, she took her to the home. And she said, next week I'll take her back to find her mother. I said, you don't take her anywhere. You keep her, we are responsible for her.
One day, a woman comes to play with me. She teaches me a song to sing. Her name is Norma.
Norma likes adventure. The room where she lives with her mother and her sisters is on top of a hill. Just next to the hill is a giant stone amphitheater that was built by people who lived here a very long time ago. Those people were called Romans. But Norma doesn't live in Rome. Norma lives in a city called Amman. It is the capital city of a country called Jordan. The people who live here are called Arabs. Norma is an Arab. A very long time ago, this place was part of a giant empire called Rome. And the people who built the amphitheater were called Romans. Isn't it interesting how things change?
When I was in Ethiopia, I saved 3 girls of trafficking, but 2 of them, one man was running with 2 girls. I stopped him. I'm not afraid of him. They said, who are these? Your daughters? No. Are you the uncle? No. So why are you taking these girls? He said, they have no one. I said, I want these girls. And he said, yeah, if you want them, you can have them. I said, yeah, I want them. So I took them to the orphanage. It's that easy to take girls and sell them. No government, nobody cares. I wish I can explain how I do things. I knew that God will help me.
Yes.
So I started small. I said, I cannot love children overseas when I can't love the people around me. So I started with Washington, D.C., helping children. And then we grew from there.
Norma and her friends like to play in the Roman amphitheater. The amphitheater has stairs and chairs made of rocks, and a stage. And at the very top, dark, deep tunnels that look like caves. All of Norma's friends are older than she is. But of all her friends, Norma likes adventure the most. She decides to have an adventure now. Norma sets her hand on one rock, then pushes herself up with her foot. Her friends stare at her from the bottom of the rocks. Norma stands at the entrance of a cave. Don't worry about me, she calls down with the confidence she doesn't quite feel. I can do this. And she turns around and steps into the unknown.
Silence swallows me. Emptiness surrounds me. I feel stuck behind doors, locked and unopened, in a dark place, shattered and broken. The only time I make a sound is when I sing to the listening wall.
Norma takes me to the place where the water plays with the sand, and the sun is hot on my head. I am afraid. I am afraid she will leave me here. Norma lets me play with the water that plays with the sand. Norma does not leave. Instead, Norma plays in the water that plays with the sand just like I do. Norma laughs. I laugh. I feel safe. Now I am 3 years old. My name is Grace.
I love you, Norma.
People ask if I'm okay. I just look past their heads and watch the crows fly away.
I was an orphan, and one American missionary, Dr. Robert Darnell, and his wife took me to their home and made a difference in my life, in my family, and now the world. The ripple effects of the investment of one little girl.
Norma needs a home to live in. Bob and Mary Darnell need Norma to live with them. For the first time in her life, Norma has plenty of food to eat. For the first time in her life, Norma has a bed where she can sleep. One day, Mary Darnell takes Norma shopping. Norma sees some red cloth that is such a deep red, it looks like royal red. Mary buys some for Norma and uses it to make her a new dress. In this dress, I could meet the king himself and not be afraid, she thinks to herself. One day, Mary Darnell plops a great big recipe book in front of Norma. "What will you cook?" she asks. At first, it feels hard to follow a recipe, but she keeps practicing until it feels easy. Now the food she makes almost always tastes good. Bob and Mary Darnell make sure Norma goes to school every day, even on the days she doesn't want to. School teaches you to live free and independent, they tell her. Norma likes her home with Bob and Mary Darnell. She lives here until she finishes growing up and graduates from college.
Food, water, nakedness, strangeness, homelessness. It's exactly the same areas. How can we not afford to care for these kids? Then he says, go and teach. That's why we are very big on education, because education gives dignity to people and gives them a future. And we do help, 2,000 children to go to school.
And rather than just give kids fish, as they say, we want to give them the tools to fish so that they can get their own fish. And so I think our philosophy is unique from the self-sustainability standpoint, where we give them an education that will allow them to care for themselves.
So we starting a vocational training school where we will be teaching them industrial arts like carpentry, welding, engine mechanics, agriculture, so they can have, support themselves, have tools to make money and survive them and their families. In Indonesia, we have 250 orphans in 7 homes. And there are many success stories. But one of them is called Marlena. And Marlena was taken when she was 12 years old. She was not going to school. They had no money to go to school, and she had no hope. And in the orphanage, she was a great girl, and she was quite smart. So we send them, when they are like that, we send them to university. In university in Indonesia now, we have 40 students, young people in university. We have already graduated 25 of them.
Whoa.
And they are giving back. Marlena is here in the middle. She graduated last year as a math teacher, and she had her wedding when I was there. So I took that picture of her, she and her husband. Amazing. Both of them are math teachers. And they teach in the school next to one of our orphanages in Kupang, it's called. And in Kupang, not only they teach at the school, but they come to the orphanage to tutor the kids in math, to give back.
Wonderful.
Thank you, Ma'am Norma, My name is Merlina Sukumeang. I come to Kupang from 2014, and then I teach here. I'm a teacher, a math teacher, and then I use my time to serve my sisters and brothers in orphans here. I want them to serve another, not only them, I mean in the church or in the school. So then I will teach them. I teach them how to sing, how to do the best, to give a beautiful song to God also. Thank you so much for your helping us to take care of us with your humble heart. Thank you so much. We proud of you.
Overseas, sometimes girls are not given a chance. The boys are important. And so, equality, fairness, God loves both boys and girls. So we try to focus on girls, but we do help boys too. But I like to give them education because the girls are the mothers of the future. And if they are to raise a generation and train their children, they need to have some kind of education so that we have a better generation in the future.
After going to school, Norma gets a job helping Mr. Gandor. Mr. Gandor likes airplanes. King Hussein, the king of Jordan, wants airplanes to fly between Jordan and other faraway countries. Mr. Gandor is the only person in Jordan who knows how to fly an airplane that can fly so far. So King Hussein asked Mr. Gandor to start an airline and teach other people how to fly the planes. Mr. Gandor does what the king asks him to do and starts Royal Jordanian Airlines. Working for Mr. Gandor makes Norma dream of faraway places she has never seen. One day, King Hussein comes to visit Mr. Gandor. As he passes the desk where Norma sits, he stops. He says hello to Norma. Norma feels trapped inside a dream. She can't believe she is meeting the king. She can't believe the king is talking to her. She opens her mouth, but she is so nervous she can't say any words. Instead, she makes sounds like, The king smiles at her. The king and Mr. Gandor start a school to teach people how to fly airplanes. Most of the students are men, but Norma and another woman named Salwa also want to learn to fly. School is hard. Salwa and Norma must learn a lot of math because you have to know math to fly a plane. The test is hard because you don't want to crash an airplane just because you don't know something. The test is so hard that many students who take it don't pass. But Salwa and Norma study hard and help each other learn. Salwa and Norma are the first two women in the whole country of Jordan to pass the test. Norma realizes that by helping someone else, she helps herself. Passing the test makes Norma happy, but it also makes her nervous. She is nervous because she knows what comes next. Now she has to learn to fly the airplane. Norma and her teacher walk to the airplane together. Norma stares at the airplane. She feels like the airplane stares back at her. Norma remembers staring into the dark cave when she was little. Now she stares into the big blue sky. I can do this, she thinks. This time, I have a teacher to go with me. Norma gets into the airplane. Together with her teacher, she flies into the unknown sky.
I try to keep on looking forward. That's what my mom would want.
Things change. Sometimes, changes make us happy. Sometimes, changes make us very, very sad. When Mr. Gandor leaves his job as Norma's boss and takes a different job, Norma feels sad. When the country Norma lives in goes to war with another country, Norma feels very sad. And when, to get away from the war, Norma has to leave everything she loves and move to a new country, Norma feels very, very sad. On the day she leaves to go to her new country, the birds sing very loudly to try to cheer her up. The sun shines bright and hot to try to cheer her up. Norma likes the new country she moves to. She likes its name, United States. She likes the word united. She likes that she can move to this new country, and people are glad to see her and make friends with her. She likes to live in a country where people from all over the world unite in friendship. Things change. Sometimes changes make us sad. Sometimes changes make us happy.
When I look outside, I see a painting with clouds and sun and grass and trees and moon and stars and everything.
In the Bible, there is a verse, very powerful, Proverbs 31:8. It says in Arabic that we ought to speak for those who cannot speak for themselves. But in Arabic, it doesn't say that. It says, speak in the case of every orphan.
He was sick, said the bottle of pills. Oh, he was tall, said the size of his shirt. He liked to draw, said the notebook and pen. Oh, he was so loved, said the card on his desk. Only for a time, said the empty bed.
Orphans are very important to God. He said, I am father of the fatherless, is God in his holy habitation. And in James 1:27, it says, religion that God, our Father, accepts as pure and faultless is this, to look after orphans and widows in their distress.
My life is a journey of tears and pain and hurt. To make others happy, I smile even when my heart is breaking. Don't worry about it. One day it will end.
What hope do they have if we leave them on the streets? What option? I mean, they are on the streets, targets to terrorists and abuse and crime. There is no hope.
Yeah.
There is no hope. You know, poverty creates this low self-esteem with children, low aspirations. They have nothing to live for. But when you sponsor them, when you take care of them, then they have dreams and they have worth, self-worth and dignity, and they do much better. So it is a must that we take care of children, poor and orphans. We are here because we love the Maasai people and we want to help your children and we want their future. You cannot live without water. Anyone who wants water from Jesus, he will give him. I love kids and I take my calling very seriously. When you invest in lives of children, your dividend is 100% for now and eternity. And you know, children are the future leaders. If we invest in them, we are doing ourselves good.
28-го нас первый раз обстреляли. Мы же не успели выбегти в погреб. У нас в коридоре там нема стекол, мы позакрывали в комнаты двери. И нам родители забегли с улицы и сказали всем на пол.
Тато кричить.
Все в укрытии.
Все в укритті, ми побігли швидко. У сусіда сарай горить, та бачимо, ще багато хат горить навколо нас.
Розкажіть, кого вбили, кого ви знаєте?
Вбило багато наших знайомих, яких ми добре знали та дружили добре з ними. Зробили гроба та без надписі, дерев'яного, як було у другій
Як при війні.
у Отечественній війні. Загинув найліпший друг
Папи теж.
нашого папи і знайомого. Він власноруч відвіз його до моргу, та була тільки половина цього чоловіка. Це просто жах, тому що друг просто бере половину свого найкращого друга та ложить в машину, везе.
Мы так просидели 2 недели, все же могли, растягивали по чуть-чуть. Все. То Вяля нарезала по кусочку и растягивала. Вон тупо его съели за раз. Свежий хлеб. Они больше ничего не хотели, просто съели свежий хлеб за раз. И они сказали, что такого вкусного хлеба больше не ели никогда. Это самое страшное. А сухари просто ломали, кидали в суп, чтобы разбухнуть трошки и все.
А от коли 28-го вже Київку розбомбили, з Київки люди в основному тікали в бомбосховище до Чернігова.